we've mentioned a few times on this show about SMU. It's Southern Methodist University. It's located in Dallas. Their head coach is Chad Morris. Are you familiar?
I think I've heard the name.
Okay.
Yeah.
SMU, over the course of the past month, I have talked to smart football people. Not like us. I'm talking actual smart football people. And asked them their opinion on SMU. And you can see it in the writers' poll in our upcoming 2017 summer edition. Those are some of the people we've talked to. And I don't know if I have seen a bigger swath of opinion, a bigger spectrum of opinion about a team than I have been about SMU this year. There are some people who believe that this is the year that SMU breaks out. SMU has the big year. SMU becomes a true contender, not just to make a bowl game, but to make it to win the American Athletic Conference. Some people think that this is a team that can make it to a New Year's Six Bowl, right? There are also people who think that the schedule's too tough, they're not quite there yet, the defense isn't good enough, a few other things, that they think that they're going to miss a bowl again this year, right? I want to have a conversation, a balanced conversation about whether or not we should be buying or selling SMU in 2017, because I think it's real easy to just get it stuck in your head that, I think, Houston, for example. I think Houston's going to be really good this year.
Right.
And then you just say, I think Houston's going to be really good, and then you move on to your next point. I want to just dissect this about SMU.
Okay.
The reasons to be optimistic about SMU. Chad Morris is entering his third year at SMU, and he's got his guy. Ben Hicks, now look, there will be a lot of talk, and when you read the people around the program, they will insist that this is a undecided position at quarterback. They will insist that it's not Ben Hicks. It could be Rafe Peavy. It could be DJ Gillens, the JUCO transfer. Any of these guys could win the job. I want to cut through the bowl.
Okay.
I would be stunned if it wasn't Ben Hicks.
I'd be pretty surprised. Here's what I will say about that. If it isn't Ben Hicks, I'm going to be really excited about whoever it is.
Sure.
Right? Because it must have done something really impressive in practice.
That would have mean that they beat out a guy that we think is pretty good.
Yeah, right.
I agree with that. I think it's going to be Ben Hicks. Okay? Go ahead and mark this in YouTube and bring this up. Send it to Cold Takes Exposed or whatever.
Sure.
On Twitter.
Okay.
This is I think it's going to be Ben Hicks.
It's not a very hot take, so it's
No,
fine.
it's not. And Ben Hicks has always been the guy that, to me, has been earmarked by Chad Morris ever since he showed up at the Hilltop.
Right.
This is the guy.
Yeah.
Ben Hicks is the guy. Here he is entering his sophomore year. He's already got 1 year of kind of up and down performance under his belt. He's got that. He's also got, I think, what may be the best receiving core in the American Athletic Conference. Cortland Sutton's the best receiver in the state. And I realize what I'm saying by saying that. I realize what I'm saying about Christian Kirk. And I realize what I'm saying about guys down in Texas, what's the... I'm totally blanking on the name of the big...
Colin Johnson?
Colin Johnson,
Yeah.
thank you. Colin Johnson. I know I'm saying that about Kiki Cootie out there at Tech. I know what I'm saying when Kevontae Turpin, all these guys. I know what I'm saying. I think Cortland Sutton might be the best receiver in Texas. He's incredible. And he's an NFL guy who eschewed the NFL for one more year. That's not to mention the secondary guys. Shelby Walker's really good.
Yeah.
I think James Prochet goes really underappreciated. They also get 3 of their 5 starters back on the offensive line. They got to replace tackles, but that's fine. Okay? The defense, I think, has some playmakers. I like Anthony Roan in the middle. I like Justin Lawler, the defensive end. I think Mason Gentry, their nose tackle back for his senior year, could be in for a very big year, right? Jordan Wyatt, the cornerback spot. There are pieces to really like about SMU. Okay? Yeah. To me, there's plenty of reason to be optimistic about SMU.
You didn't even mention a bevy of young players,
Exactly.
but sophomores and true freshmen this
Yes.
year that could have
step
huge
up.
years. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Those are, to me, the reasons to be optimistic about SMU. The reasons to be pessimistic about SMU, okay? One is that the places that they do have to fill in gaps on offense are really critical, okay? The tackles. They have to replace the tackle spots. And those are the types of things that, forget everything else, that could cut the legs out from underneath this offense in a hurry. If they can't find answers at tackles, looks like right now, it looks like it'll be Chad Pursley at left tackle and Bryce Wilds at right tackle. If those guys, if they can't find reliable tackles, it doesn't matter who plays quarterback. It doesn't matter how good Cortland Sutton is. It doesn't matter how good the running backs are, how deep that running back core is. And it is. But it doesn't matter because that can cut the legs out from under. There's also the matter of the fact that the defense wasn't very good last year, and they are having to replace a number of key pieces. They're having to replace the entire left side of their defensive line. They're having to replace a couple of safeties. They're having to replace a corner. They've got a lot of pieces they've got to replace defensively from a defense that wasn't very good last year. So you're taking a defense that was not great that now you have to recycle. And perhaps the biggest reason to be pessimistic about SMU is that this schedule is not kind.
Yeah.
Okay? They're at TCU, they're at Houston, they're at Cincinnati, they're at Navy, they're at Memphis. Okay? Right there. That's 5 road games that you would have to presume. Cincinnati, maybe they'd be favored, but they will be no better. They'll be underdogs in those other 4, make no mistake. At Cincinnati, they'll probably be like right now 3 to 7 point favorites.
However, the good news is both TCU and Houston versus SMU always qualify as #WeirdFootball.
For sure.
You're right. On paper, they will go in as underdogs, but #WeirdFootball.
So the schedule's tough. The schedule's real tough. And so for me, I find it really hard to balance my feelings about SMU. I think that if you look at the big shiny objects, right? Ben Hicks, Cortland Sutton, this great wide receiver core, this deep core of running backs. 3 starters back on offense. A great pass rusher in Justin Lawler, right? It's easy to get excited. For me, the negatives about this team and the reasons to be pessimistic are really nagging, right? They're smaller, less sexy things, right?
Yeah.
It's not like they're trying to replace a quarterback, right?
No.
Or it's like you look at A&M and you're like, there's a big reason why we're a little skeptical of A&M. They got to find a quarterback, right? That's not the same at SMU. SMU's got a lot of the key pieces in place, but it's these small, little things that could cut the legs out from what we think could be a really promising season.
I mean, I think if you're going to take the most pessimistic angle, I think we're sort of influenced by how burned we've been by Texas Tech. But you look at the defense, I don't have no reason to believe that they're going to be great.
For sure.
Right?
That's a big part of it.
Like if you're gonna be harsh, there's no reason to think that they're going to take some gigantic leap forward. And if they don't, is that good enough?
Now, let's be real. Concluding statement. I'm optimistic about SMU.
Yeah, we both are. Yeah.
I think we're both optimistic about SMU. I think we both believe that
Yeah.
Chad Morris in a third year at SMU is the X factor here.
Yeah.
That we can't quantify. We can't say, oh well, the returning starters are missing here. I think Chad Morris covers up a lot of warts.
Right.
But I think I wanted to have a balanced discussion about that to say there are some key things that could really cut the legs out from underneath this team. That said, I choose to be optimistic about SMU.
Yeah, if anything, this was a good exercise in
my own thought process.
Pragmatism.
Pragmatism.
Pragmatism. Man, I'm so tired.